All right, this is the practice assignment for 8.6, problems involving percents. This is the last section in our percent unit, so if you can solve these, you're in great shape for the test that's coming up. So the instructions say solve each problem, be sure to show your work and thinking, and round to the nearest hundredth when necessary. So normal rules there. We're just going to take a look at a couple problems here. We're going to take a look at problem number 3. It says William got 35 questions correct on the math test, and he scored 79.54%. How many questions were on the test? Now, you may remember a problem just like this, but do you remember how to solve it? So let's think about this. He got 35 questions correct out of all the ones on the test. What we don't know is how many questions were on the test. So that 35 is 79% of the questions on the test. So 35 is 79.54% of the number of questions on the test. What we don't know is how many questions there were, and that's a number, so we use a variable like x or n to represent that. Now, if you write that down as an equation, we've got 35 equals, just be careful with this, we're going to have to move the decimal over 2 places, 0.7954, and then we'll multiply it by x. You should be able to finish solving that, but again, you want to think the question is about how many questions there are on the test, so you want to make sure you answer that the right way. Let's take a look at the next one we want to look at, and that is number 6. Joey Chestnut had a bad hot dog eating contest this year. He ate 70% fewer hot dogs this year than last year. If he ate 21 hot dogs this year, how many did he eat last year? Well, let's think about how this works here. He ate 70% fewer this year than last year. Well, we're always comparing to 100%, so he actually went down 70%. What that means is he only ate 30% of what he used to eat. And it tells us how many he ate this year. It tells us he ate 21. What we don't know is how many he ate last year. So remember, this new amount is a percent of the old amount. So that 21 is 30% of that old amount of x. And there's enough that you could write down an equation for that. Remember, is means equals and of means multiply. Don't forget to move the decimal over 2 places. Let's take a look at another one. So go ahead and flip it over on the back side. This one says Maya has a $50,000 in a savings account. Simple interest rate is 3.75% per year. How much will she have after 3 years and 6 months? So the formula is really important here. Better have that memorized, so you'll need that for the test. I equals PRT, principal times rate times time. And again, that stands for percentage rate. So the interest in this case is going to be the principal, 50,000. Make sure we got all the zeros in there. Percentage rate, move that over 2 places, 0.0375. And then times the time, 3 years and 6 months. Again, we've seen this before. 6 months would be half a year, so this is going to be 3.5. So we'd multiply all those together, and that's going to be the interest. Now, it does say, how much will she have? So don't forget when you're done, you've got to take the principal, the amount that was in there to begin with, and then you've got to add whatever this interest formula is. So it's going to be 50,000 plus whatever that answer is. So 50,000 plus whatever the interest is. Now we're going to come down here and we're going to take a quick look at this table here. This could represent any one of the problems that we've talked about. You should be able to hopefully think about these and figure them out. These do tend to be a little bit more difficult. So let's take a look at number 12. On number 12, it says the old amount is 50, the new amount is 60, and we want to figure out what is the percent of change and what is the amount of change. Well, if you think about it, if it went from 50 up to 60, it actually went up $10. Okay, so that was a $10 increase. What we want to do is we want to figure out what was the percent of that change. So we've got to figure out a percent right here. So there are a couple different ways that we could figure this out. We could say something like, well, the new amount is a percent of the old amount. So let's do it that way because we've done that. 60 is some percent of 50. So this is going to be 60 equals some percent of 50. So let's see, we're going to divide by 50. That's going to be, let's see, calculator here, 60 divided by 50. Whoops, clear that off. 60 divided by 50, and we end up with 1.2. So 1.2, but remember, P stands for percent, so this is 120%. Well, that means it's 120% of the original 100%. So remember, this is 120%. That's 100%. So we subtract that original 100%. So we end up with 20%. We'll just write increase right here. Now, there is another way to do this. So let me change colors and show you a different way. We could just say, well, it went up $10. What percent is that of 50? So I'm going to write down 10 is some percent of 50. So we're going to do 10 equals P times 50. We're going to divide by 50. So we get P equals, we'll grab the calculator. Again, you may be pretty good at these if you can reduce the fraction and remember those common rational numbers we talked about. 0.2. So 0.2 right here, move it over 2 places, 20%. So either way, you get the same answer of 20%. It was a 20% increase. Now, I want to talk about 2 more problems. Take a look at number 14, and then we'll take a look at number 15. On number 14, remember, this is the old amount, and this is the new amount. So we had a 5% markup, which was $2.50, and we don't know the new amount, and we also don't know the old amount. So we're stuck working with these 2 numbers, and we've got to find one of these right here. So if you stop and think about this, that markup is a percentage of the old price, a percentage of the old amount. So this $2.50 is actually 5% of the old amount. I'll say that again. This $2.50 is actually 5% of the old amount. That should be enough that you can come up with an equation and solve that. Again, some of these are challenging. And then we'll take a look at the last problem we want to take a quick look at. Number 15. Mary said that crime has gone up 243%, while Bob says crime has gone down by 125%. Who is not telling the truth, and how do you know? So stop and think about some of the logic that we've talked about with percents. What percent can it go up? What percent can it go down? Can you tell just by who's making the argument and the numbers that they're using who would be telling the truth here? All right, that's enough to help you along the way. Good luck on the assignment.